Well, you only got the job because of your CV, and you lied on your CV, you're not qualified. This is why the budget's so bad. Unemployment just went up last week for the first time for ages. All the major supermarkets in the UK have just said they're going to be laying staff off because of national insurance increases. They're looking at staff cost savings at the moment. Recession could be on the horizon, but I seem to get the impression of you that you don't think Rachel Reeves knows what she's doing. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Nick Talks. This episode's returning guest is Ash, the Preston journalist. How you doing, Ash?
Very good, thank you, Nick.
Excellent. And for people who don't know Ash, he had a huge YouTube channel, but he got hacked, lost all his followers. So go in the description of this video, click the link and subscribe to Ash's new YouTube channel. You won't be disappointed. Daily updates, everything political. Um, I know what I want to talk about today, and it's about the first female chancellor of the UK. Um, I know that when a politician makes a mistake and something happens, all the online trolls are really good at producing memes straight away. And we've been getting memes now for ages. But people are going, what's a meme? A meme is normally an image of that's basically a joke, taking the mickey out of someone because of something they did. And we're getting hundreds of them at the moment, all about Rachel Reeves, because, as you know, she's been lying on her CV. And I've seen stuff now where Rachel Reeves was the first person on the moon, was the first who she discovered gravity.
She managed the Beatles.
She managed the Beatles, and and that's because of the lying she did on the CV. So people are just taking the mickey out of her. What's your take on this?
It's not just a CV, though, is it, Nick? She's lied. It seems like her entire life has been a lie. I mean, credit. I've got to credit Guido Fawkes, by the way, for covering this story so ferociously because they're the ones who've managed to find all this stuff out. I would never have known that she'd edited her LinkedIn profile, for example. Her CV had changed from economist to retail banker. She's now being called Rachel from complaints. It's not even Rachel from accounts anymore because she was a complaint handler. You know, she wrote a book, Women in Economics or something like that. And it turned out that it was plagiarized from probably one of the worst sources you could ever get, which is Wikipedia. I mean, even children at school are told not to use Wikipedia as a reliable source for essays and things like that. Her in the chess champion thing. Oh yeah, I was a chess champion at 14 years old. Turns out she came 26th. You know, the woman has just told lie after lie after lie, and she hasn't posted on social media. The first post is actually in a week she's done on social media was when John Prescott died. That's the first post she actually put out, and if you read the comments on that post, she is just getting absolutely slaughtered. There's no credibility for her whatsoever. She was put there. I'd call it a DEI hire personally. I think that's what it was. She has Stormer probably. I can't prove this, so it's my opinion only. Stormer probably knew. She didn't have the first idea as what she was doing. She just holds the right ideology, and she's a woman. So it's quickly look at that. I've got a woman as my chancellor, and that's all it was about. Because even in the run up to the budget, he kept saying, "Oh, she's making history. Look at this woman making history for the country." I'm like, shut up. We've had three female prime ministers before that, so it's not exactly making history, are you?
It's for Labour because Labour only want to give women the second job, never the first job. We'll only give women the second job. So she probably was a DEI hire, but the fact that she's lied so much and some of the things you've mentioned, I didn't even know. I didn't know about the chess champion. I didn't know about some of those things you've mentioned. And it just goes to prove that we have many politicians who are born liars, hence why they're attracted into politics, hence why they move up the greasy pole. Because if you can't do that through merit, do it on fake merit, which is another word for lies.
It's so patronising, though. Women don't need that sort of thing. They're perfectly capable, just as capable as me and you, of doing a job like that. You just need to get, as you just rightly said, you have to get the person on merit. You have to get somebody who's actually qualified to do the job you're putting them into. No other political party, as far as I'm aware, though I stand to be corrected, in this country has to have silly all black people shortlists or all female shortlists just to get them into a seat or just to get them into a prominent position within the party. Look at the Labour front bench. It's stuffed full of women. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's just optics, isn't it? They do it saying, look at that, look how diverse we are. Yeah, but you won't have anybody else but a middle-aged man from North London to be your leader. As you just said, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. They never ever get the top jobs inside Labour. There's no such thing as merit inside that party, because if there was, then at least one person on that front bench would have had a successful career in the private sector. At least one person might have run their own business. At least one person might have been successful in life. Yet not one of them has, to the point where in Reeves' case, they've got to lie on their CVs. She has broken the ministerial code. No question about it. And if this was a Tory, the BBC would be all over it. All the MSM, they'd be absolutely hounding them until they had to resign. But because it's Rachel Reeves, I believe the BBC have done one segment on it in the last 7 days, which is shocking. And she's supposed to be the Chancellor.
You just said the word then, resign. Is that going to happen? Because you're right. I can't believe she's lasting this long. I'm sure she's going to drag it out. I'm sure she doesn't want to resign. I'm sure Starmer doesn't want her to resign, and he doesn't want to sack her, because the second you lose your chancellor, there's a very good chance you as prime minister will be going very soon as well. I can't believe it's lasting this long. And you're right, the press, if this was anybody else, if this was a Tory, they would be all over this all the time. Where's all the demands on social media for her to step down? There isn't any, but there would have been if it was a Tory. She's lied, she's admitted she's lied, she's admitted CV was made up, she's admitted other things have been exaggerated at the best, lied at worst. Can she survive? Because at the beginning I talked about memes. I've never seen so many jokes about a politician than I have this last few days about Rachel Reeves. It's everywhere, it's everything. And now it's beginning to affect other members of the cabinet, because now those jokes are being rolled out on them. Have they been lying? I just seen one on Starmer today, him dressed up as Wurzel Gummidge, and it says, I used to work on a farm, you know. So because she's being damaged, it's infectious. It's going to infect other people. And I'm sure she's keeping her head down, hoping it blows over. So my question is, will it blow over? Can she survive?
I know from a very good source, I'll stress it's a backbencher, not a cabinet minister, that the arseholes are twitching on the benches. They know how bad this looks. And it's, as you said, it's spreading through the party. And how many journalists now are poring over every single CV for every single person on that front bench. And as soon as they find something else, the next person is going to be targeted. And that is all Reeves' fault. There has been discussions with Reeves. Her own officials, let's say, some of them civil servants, have said that maybe you should think about resigning. I don't think Starmer has the balls to sack her. And plus, it looks very, very bad, as you just said. If he sacks his own chancellor after just a couple of months in, 100 and some days in charge, it looks awful. If he sacks her, it makes him look like an idiot. Whereas if she resigns, it looks like it's her fault and she's the one that's made the mistake.
Oh, it will always be a resignation, because what happens in those things is Starmer will say to her, you've got to go. You resign or I sack you. And in those circumstances, everybody resigns because you save a better face.
Yeah. In answer to your first point, no, she can't survive this. I would bet good money that she will not survive this. What we're on now, I don't think she'll see December. Like you, I'm very, very surprised that she's even still in her job. And then what's going to happen is she'll resign, and Stormer will say, well, we looked into it and we took swift, decisive action, and she had to go. Something like that. That's his phrase all the time, swift, decisive action. And it's not. He's just too afraid to sack her. Plus, she probably knows where a lot of the bodies are buried as well, so he's probably scared to death. She might say something that that he doesn't want her to. But no, she can't survive this. I don't think so anyway. Well, she's completely discredited. You've got a woman in charge of a multi-trillion-pound economy who is basically one of those people, no disrespect to anybody who works in a bank, but one of those people that you walk into a bank and you want to sit down at a desk and chat to them about your mortgage or something. That's Rachel Reeves. That's as high as she got, and she is not fit to be chancellor of this country. She's not qualified to be chancellor of this country, and she hasn't got the experience to run this country, which is obviously demonstrated by this disastrous nightmare Halloween budget that she did.
And that's going to be the bit that kills her. I think she'd have got away with these lies and exaggerations if the economy and if her budget was doing well, because she would say, and my initial response when I first heard this was, who doesn't exaggerate on CVs and going for jobs? We all exaggerate, I'm sure we do, but it's gone beyond exaggeration. And this budget and everything that's happened from the budget, people are now going, well, you only got the job because of your CV, and you lied on your CV, you're not qualified. This is why the budget's so bad. So they're connecting two things now, and that's the bit that's going to bring her down.
Well, it's not just the CV, is it? She's lied to voters to get her seat. I saw another story on that when she was telling people what a great economist she was, and she's worked at the Bank of England. She knows what's good for the country, etc. She's lied not just to voters, she's lied to the entire country. And yes, all right, you can exaggerate your CV a little bit. You might embellish, make yourself sound a little bit better than you actually are or something. Who hasn't done that? But to totally lie about your career, making out like you were right at the top of the food chain when it comes to banking, when actually you were nothing of the sort. That's not a little lie, is it? That's not an exaggeration. That's a blatant untruth, and you cannot be chancellor of this country when you're a glorified customer service assistant, which is essentially what she was.
I would push back on that. I think she'd get away with all that if the economy was going gangbusters, if jobs were being created, if she'd done a better budget, if jobs were being created, if we were paying less tax, if foreign investment was coming in. I think she'd go, well, I may have exaggerated, you're calling it lies, but I may have exaggerated, but look at the economy. And people would go, well, I don't care if she exaggerates and lies. Look what she's doing to the country. It's fantastic. But because it's a complete opposite, she's got nowhere to go with this. She's basically lied to get the job. And then we found out, well, she had to lie to get the job because she didn't have the experience, the skills, or the know-how to do the job. Therefore, we need to sack her.
Well, then I would say, coming back on that, I would say the two go hand in hand then. If you've got her very limited experience and now she's the chancellor, how could you possibly put together a budget that was going to benefit the country in the first place?
Yeah.
I don't think she's got even the skills. I've just seen a story, I've just seen a story about the impact on the farmers about this policy, the inheritance tax policy. And it's been revealed that not once did she undertake any kind of impact assessment on what it was going to be. So these figures that she's churning out at the moment, only 27% of farms are going to be affected, whereas the NFU, the Farmers Union, are saying it's more like 66% of farms are going to be affected. I'd take their word for it over Reeves. And we also found out that this policy only came forward from one advisor, one ultra left-wing advisor, who said, what a good policy this is, why don't you look at this? And they've just gone ahead and done it without even finding out what the impact was going to be on people. Or, is it really going to annoy people? Maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe we should look at other ways of raising tax if we absolutely have to. But I heard, this quite. I heard a guy called Theo Usherwood the other day, and he was on Talk, and he said he's been speaking to some senior Tories, and he said this Tory had told him that this Labour Party and Reeves, especially because of the inexperience and naivety, have completely fallen for the civil service line. This Tory said that a lot of these policies, like your winter fuel payments, etc., had been suggested to the Conservatives over the last 14 years, pretty much every time a budget came round. And the Tories always said no, because they said they were disastrous policies, and it would kill us, basically. It'd bring the government down. And this is just a list of policies that the civil service have got already written up, going, oh, look at these. And this Labour Party, this unqualified, inexperienced Chancellor have fallen for it hook, line, and sinker. And they're simply doing what the civil service have told them to do, because they haven't got the skills, the knowledge, or the experience, or the political nous to come up with anything meaningful of their own. That, who knows, may have benefited the country if they had a brain to think of something.
Yeah. I think the farmer thing is also about punishing landowners. I think it's a very vindictive, ideological driven policy, just like that on private schools. I don't think it's anything to do with raising money. I don't think they care one way or the other if it raises money. I think they want to punish people they think are the enemy, who are getting unfair advantages, whose ancestors obviously stole that land from someone else to get that land in the first place. I think it's just vindictive socialist communist policies.
Oh, certainly, yeah, it is. Uh, it's definitely down to ideology. I mean, if you look at the 40 billion in tax raises, for example, that an economist called Liam Halligan has already said that 40 billion has already been swallowed up by the fact that the gilt yields are going up, by the fact that interest rates are going to have to go up, and that inflation, as we've just seen, has gone up 0.6% in 1 month. Yep. That has now swallowed up the 40 billion in tax rises already, because now the government debt, government borrowing has gone up. The interest payments on that government debt has now gone up, which is going to go out the country anyway to foreign investors or foreign money lenders, shall we say. So that 40 billion is already basically wiped off. They've just had to borrow 17.4 billion pounds in 1 month. And that is even for the Tories, who were no economic experts by the end, that is a hell of a lot of borrowing, and a lot more than was forecasted by the OBR. And we can see the growth forecast for this country now. It's down, down, down. We are going to go, well, if we carry on like we're heading headfirst into recession. 0.1% growth is pitiful. You might as well not have any growth at all. It's basically zero, isn't it?
Well, every government exaggerates growth, and the most they could exaggerate was saying it's going to be 1.5%. And we know they all exaggerate. So I think they don't even think it's going to be 1.5%. Unemployment just went up last week for the first time for ages. All the major supermarkets in the UK have just said they're going to be laying staff off because of national insurance increases. They're looking at staff cost savings at the moment. Recession could be on the horizon.
I think it is, and it's not just the supermarkets now. The car manufacturers have just come out. Ford have just said they're laying 800 staff off in the UK.
Wow.
Nissan have just said they are thinking about pulling out of the UK because there simply isn't the appetite for electric vehicles, which the government are forcing them to produce, and people aren't buying them. People don't want them. People like the internal combustion engine cars. They like the diesel cars, the petrol cars, and even if you do buy an electric vehicle, there's not the infrastructure in this country to keep them charged up anyway. Yeah. And now all these car manufacturers are saying, well, forget the UK. We're going to go to a country where they drive diesel and petrol, and they're going to keep buying them because we're going to make money there. Whereas in the UK, nobody's buying them because nobody's buying into this green agenda, unfortunately, apart from, of course, the politicians. They've just put a tax on boilers very, very quietly, by the way. And if certain companies don't install enough heat pumps over a certain amount, enough heat pumps over a certain amount of time, they're going to get a bill from the government for not selling enough heat pumps. Effectively a tax on boilers. And they're trying to financially cripple us and bully us into going along with these stupid agendas. And with it, the economy is going down the drain, and they can't see what's going on. I've said this on your channel before, that the people like Starmer aren't dangerous. He's an empty suit. He's a nothing. He's a nobody. He doesn't believe in anything. You've got to be very, very scared of people like Miliband, scared of people like Bridget Phillipson, scared of people who actually believe in something because they do. And people like Miliband will go after their agenda, even if they have to starve you out of your homes, kill pensioners in their homes, freeze them to death. They don't care. It's collateral damage. It's all about the ideology.
It is. Now, let's end on this one question. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I seem to get the impression of you that you don't think Rachel Reeves knows what she's doing.
You're absolutely right. I don't think she does know what she's doing. And she hasn't the qualifications and she hasn't the background. Anybody who has to lie to get a job is not fit for that job. And if I applied for a job, or you applied for a job, or anybody watching this applied for a job that you were wholly unqualified for, and then you got into that job and you made a complete bollocks of the entire job when you got into it,
Yeah.
you'd be sacked. No pension, no payoff, nothing. You'd be out on your ear. But that won't happen to her, of course. She'll still just get the chance to resign and go. But if she sees December, I'll be amazed.
Right, let's end it there. Let's see if Reeves is gone by Christmas. I know I said Starmer, but I might hedge my bets now and say I meant Reeves. I meant Reeves. So we'll see if Reeves is here at Christmas. But I can't see how she survives, not with the flack that's going on.
I don't think she sees 1st of December, but we'll see.
Right, we shall. Well, let's meet up again 1st of December and let's see where we are. Cheers, Ash, for coming back on. And don't forget, viewers, go to the description of the video, click Ash's link, and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Cheers.
Cheers, Nate. Thanks.